I remember the day my 6-year-old great-granddaughter came to visit. We were sitting in the living room playing a board game when she suddenly wrinkled her nose and said, "Grandpa Doc, why do old people smell funny?" Her mother gasped, but I just chuckled. Children have a way of speaking truths that adults politely ignore. Later that evening, I caught myself in the bathroom, sniffing my wrists and neck, wondering if what she said was true. Had I become one of those old people, with that distinctive scent I used to notice as a young doctor visiting nursing homes? Was this now how my family saw me? How my friends experienced me? The thought was devastating. That moment changed everything for me. It sent me on a journey that I'm about to share with you today, one that not only transformed my own life, but the lives of hundreds of my elderly patients who were suffering silently with the same issue. I'm Dr. Richard Harmon. I've been practicing medicine for over 65 years, and at 91 I still see patients 3 days a week. Not because I have to, but because I believe my experience with aging gives me a unique perspective that younger doctors simply cannot offer. I've lived through the same challenges you're facing. I've felt the same frustrations with my changing body, and I've discovered solutions that most medical schools don't teach. Practical, simple approaches that work specifically for our aging bodies. Let's be honest about something that many of us experience, but few want to discuss. As we age, our body odor changes. It becomes more noticeable, more persistent, and unfortunately more resistant to standard hygiene practices. What worked in our 40s and 50s simply doesn't work anymore. And it's not just embarrassing, it's isolating. Just last month, Martha, an 83-year-old patient of mine, broke down crying in my office. Her grandchildren had stopped hugging her, always finding excuses to keep their distance. Her daughter had bought her numerous perfumes and deodorants as gifts, which Martha correctly recognized as hints. She'd been showering twice daily, applying liberal amounts of talcum powder, and still the problem persisted. "I feel like I'm becoming untouchable," she told me, "like I'm slowly disappearing from my family's embrace." Another patient, Robert, 78, stopped attending his weekly card game after overhearing 2 friends discussing his odor when they thought he couldn't hear. 60 years of friendship, ended by shame and embarrassment. He'd become so self-conscious that he'd essentially sentenced himself to solitary confinement in his own home. These stories break my heart because I know the truth that most doctors aren't telling you this isn't your fault, and it's not about cleanliness or personal hygiene failures. What's actually happening is a perfect storm of biological changes that occur as we age. First, our skin's pH balance shifts, becoming more alkaline. This creates an environment where certain bacteria thrive, the exact bacteria responsible for producing those distinctive compounds that create what researchers have identified as non-enol, the particular scent associated with aging bodies. Second, our sweat glands undergo significant changes. While we produce less sweat volume overall, the composition of our sweat changes dramatically, containing more lipid acids that, when broken down by bacteria, create stronger and more persistent odors. Third, and this is critical, the areas of our body where these changes occur most dramatically are often the areas we tend to neglect in our daily hygiene routines, either because they're difficult to reach or because we were never taught their importance. Now, here's what your dermatologist or family doctor probably hasn't told you. These changes don't have to dictate your social life or your relationship with your family. There is a simple, powerful solution that costs almost nothing, can be done right at home, and begins working within just 7 days. Many of my patients report significant improvements in just 72 hours. What I'm about to share with you has helped hundreds of my elderly patients reclaim their confidence, their social lives, and yes, even those precious hugs from grandchildren and spouses. And in a moment, I'll walk you through each step of this protocol that has been nothing short of transformative for so many. But first, I want you to understand that this approach is backed by serious science. It's not about masking odors with harsh chemicals or perfumes. It's about addressing the root biological causes of age-related body odor at the source. And it all hinges on one often neglected area of the body that, when properly cleansed, can dramatically reduce the compounds responsible for that distinctive scent. I'm talking about your underarms, but not in the way you might think. Most of us were taught to apply deodorant to our underarms and consider the job done. But the traditional approach to underarm hygiene is woefully inadequate for our aging bodies. It's not just about the surface, it's about the complex ecosystem of skin, sweat glands, and bacteria that exists in the warm, often damp environment of our axillary regions. Here's my step-by-step protocol for proper underarm care that has helped countless elderly patients regain their confidence and comfort. Step 1. The proper cleansing technique. Begin with warm, not hot, water. Hot water strips away too many natural oils, which actually makes the problem worse by triggering increased sebum production. Using a soft washcloth, not a loofah or harsh scrubber which can damage aging skin, apply a small amount of pH-balanced soap specifically formulated for sensitive skin. Now, here's the critical part most people miss. Each underarm needs a full 30 seconds of gentle circular motions. Count it out. This isn't about scrubbing harder, it's about duration. 30 seconds allows the soap to break down the fat-soluble compounds that bind odor-causing molecules to your skin. For those with mobility issues, use a long-handled soft brush that can be purchased at any pharmacy for under $10. After washing, pat, don't rub, the area dry with a clean towel. Rubbing creates microscopic skin irritations that actually provide more surface area for bacteria to colonize. This step works because it physically removes the bacteria and compounds that have already accumulated while preparing the skin for the next critical step. Step 2. The pH restoration treatment. This is where the magic happens. As I mentioned earlier, aging skin becomes more alkaline, creating an environment where odor-producing bacteria thrive. We need to restore the proper pH balance. Mix 1 part apple cider vinegar with 4 parts water in a small spray bottle. After your shower, when your underarms are completely dry, spray this solution lightly onto each underarm. Let it air dry completely, about 2 to 3 minutes. The mild acidity helps restore your skin's natural protective barrier and creates an environment where those troublesome bacteria simply cannot flourish. For those concerned about a vinegar scent, don't worry. Once it dries, the smell dissipates completely. If you have particularly sensitive skin, start with a more diluted solution, 1 part vinegar to 8 parts water, and gradually increase the concentration. This step works because it fundamentally changes the microbiome of your underarm region, discouraging the growth of odor-causing bacteria while encouraging beneficial bacteria that actually help neutralize odors. Step 3. The mineral barrier application. Now that we've cleansed properly and restored the optimal pH, we need to create a protective barrier that absorbs moisture without blocking the sweat glands, which would be unhealthy for aging bodies. Here's an elderly hack that works wonders. Skip the commercial deodorants loaded with aluminum and chemicals. Instead, apply a light dusting of pure cornstarch mixed with a small amount of baking soda, 3 parts cornstarch to 1 part baking soda. Use a large, soft makeup brush for application. This ensures even coverage without the mess. Store this mixture in a sugar shaker for easy application. The cornstarch absorbs moisture, while the baking soda provides additional odor neutralization. For those with exceptionally sensitive skin who may react to baking soda, pure cornstarch alone works nearly as well. This step works because it creates a physical environment that absorbs moisture before bacteria can process it into odorous compounds without introducing harsh chemicals that can irritate aging skin. Step 4. The circulation enhancer. This final step is one that many are surprised by, but it makes a tremendous difference. Poor circulation in aging bodies contributes significantly to odor problems by slowing the body's natural cleansing processes. Each evening, spend just 60 seconds gently massaging each underarm area with your fingertips. Use small circular motions, working from the center of the underarm outward toward the lymph nodes. This stimulates lymphatic drainage and increases blood flow to the area. For those with arthritis or mobility issues who cannot reach comfortably, a tennis ball placed between your side and a wall can be used to create gentle pressure and rolling motions that achieve similar results. This step works because it helps your body's natural detoxification system function more efficiently, moving bacteria and toxins away from the problematic area rather than allowing them to accumulate. Let me tell you about Margaret, a 79-year-old widow who came to me in tears. Since her husband's passing 3 years ago, she'd been trying to stay active in her church community, but had noticed people increasingly keeping their distance. When her pastor gently suggested she might consider freshening up before services, she was mortified. "I shower every single day," she told me. "I use deodorant. I wear clean clothes. What am I doing wrong?" I explained this protocol to her, and she agreed to try it, though skeptically. 2 weeks later, she returned to my office with a smile I hadn't seen in years. Her church choir director had asked her to rejoin the group after a long absence. Her granddaughter had fallen asleep on her shoulder during a family movie night, something that hadn't happened in years. "For the first time in so long, I feel like I'm part of life again, not just observing it from a distance," she told me. Then there's James, 86, who had become so self-conscious about his odor that he'd stopped attending his beloved weekly chess matches at the park. After just 10 days on this protocol, he invited his chess partners to his home. One of them, a straight-talking veteran like himself, remarked, "Whatever you're doing differently, keep it up. It's much more pleasant sitting across from you now." James told me this with pride, not embarrassment. That honest feedback confirmed what he'd hoped, that he could rejoin the social world without self-consciousness. Perhaps most touching was Elena, 73, who had been avoiding picking up her great-grandchildren because of comments they'd innocently made. After 3 weeks following this protocol, her 4-year-old great-granddaughter climbed into her lap and said, "Abuelita, you smell like cookies now," referring to the faint, pleasant scent of the cornstarch mixture. Elena called me that evening, crying tears of joy. "I want you to know that it's never too late to reclaim your confidence, your closeness with loved ones, and your place in social settings. Age brings us wisdom, perspective, and the precious gift of time with those we love. It should never force us into isolation or embarrassment over something so treatable." This simple 4-step protocol takes less than 5 minutes a day, costs pennies compared to expensive senior products that don't address the root cause, and can begin transforming your life in just 1 week. Try it for 7 days, that's all I ask. Notice how people respond to you differently. Notice how your confidence grows when you're no longer worried about an issue that's been silently troubling you. Notice how liberating it feels to hug your loved ones without hesitation or self-consciousness. Your family will feel the difference, but more importantly, so will you. Age should bring us closer to those we love, not create invisible barriers. This simple routine has helped hundreds of my patients break down those barriers and step back into the full, rich social lives they deserve. If you found this information helpful, please consider sharing it with other seniors in your life who might be suffering silently with the same issue. None of us should have to face these natural challenges of aging alone or without solutions. Thank you for your attention today. This is Dr. Richard Harmon, wishing you health, confidence, and many, many warm embraces from those you hold dear.